Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dale Menyo. Well, the field is set now for the World Livestock Auctioneering Championship semifinals. They'll be in Dunlap, Iowa in June. Their 31 bid callers will battle it out in the World Livestock Auctioneering Championships. It's held in conjunction with the Livestock Marketing Association's annual convention. The event will bring together the top 10 individuals from each of the three qualifying events, along with the reigning International Livestock Auctioneering Champion. Congratulations to semifinalist from New Concord, Ohio, Ross Parks. Ross, good luck in that upcoming competition. After saying goodbye to the last salty of the season on Saturday, December 28, 2024, the Port of Duluth Superior is getting ready for the end of the Laker season at the Soo Locks, closing today. Laker season is longer than salty season because those ships traverse the Great Lakes and are not ocean-going ships. The ships can range up to 1,000 feet long. The Soo Locks MacArthur Lock is closing for the navigation season to conduct seasonal repairs and maintenance on December the 16th. It started, and it looks like Detroit District on their website says the Poe Lock will remain open until January 15th, that's today, or until commercial traffic ceases, whichever occurs first. The Soo Locks will remain closed through 12:01 a.m. March 25th, 2025 to perform seasonal critical maintenance. More than 4,500 vessels carrying up to 80 million tons of cargo maneuver through the Soo Locks annually. Iron ore, coal, wheat, and limestone are the most frequently carried commodities. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Detroit District maintains the navigation system, including 81 harbors, channels joining lakes Superior, Michigan, Huron, St. Clair, and Erie. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Some clouds around in Ohio today as bitter cold air wants to park here again. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. Here's what's going on. We've got a little minor disturbance trying to move through in the cold air today, so light snow and flurries is a possibility, but I think it's only a nuisance, not much of anything else. We get rid of it all and get sunshine back in full force tomorrow and Thursday. Today and tomorrow, the coldest days of this week by far. Thursday, not quite as cold. We get into Friday, and temperatures really start to moderate dramatically. As a matter of fact, I expect a decent amount of snow melt as we move through Friday afternoon and Friday evening. By the time we get to overnight Friday night, we are dealing with our next weather system headed towards us, coming up from the southwest. It originates in the mid-Mississippi River Valley, comes across 90% of Ohio. From I-70 southward, I think we're looking at rain and wet snowflakes. North of I-70, all snow. Liquid equivalent still about a half an inch or less, but it could be a little bit of a mess as we move through the first part of Saturday with this system still here. Cold air comes back in behind it. The Arctic reloading, and next week looks even colder than what we're dealing with this week. It's going to be a brutal stretch of cold air across the country as many states, yes, many states, many parts of the country will be anywhere from 20 to 35 degrees below normal. That's a look at your forecast update. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. The expansion of renewable energy projects has led to growth in foreign ownership of agricultural land in the U.S. from 2022 to 2023, while at the same time, the amount of ag land owned by Chinese investors has dropped. That according to new analysis of U.S. data by the American Farm Bureau Federation. The amount of U.S. agricultural land owned by foreign entities continues to grow, according to a new analysis by the AFBF. In addition, they said as foreign ownership continues to grow, the USDA in 2024 imposed a record $1.2 million in penalties on foreign entities that failed to report purchases, sales, and interest in U.S. ag land via Form 153 submitted to the Farm Service Agency. Overall, the new analysis found 1.58 million acres increase in foreign-owned agricultural land in the U.S. from 2022 to 2023. There has been significant interest in U.S. agricultural land owned by Chinese investors, the AFBF said in its analysis. Looking specifically at renewable energy expansion, AFBF took a closer look at what federal data shows about investments in ag land for renewable energy development, focusing particularly on long-term leases of 10 years or more. Since 2010, foreign renewable energy investments in U.S. agricultural land have increased by at least 10.4 million acres. That's 353% rise, accounting for nearly half of the 21 million acre total increase in foreign-owned ag land during this period, AFBF said. From 2018 to 2023, AFB said the trend intensified with renewable energy entities, including those developing solar and wind energy, driving 76% of the total growth in foreign-owned agricultural land. Such entities contributed 7.55 million acres out of the 9.96 million acre increase. Of the land used for renewable energy in 2023, AFBF said it found that 70% of the acreage was cropland, 22% classified as pasture, 6% as other, and 2% as forest land. Based on the keyword search of federal data, 84% of the acres were associated with entities linked to wind energy, AFBF said. Since 2021, according to AFBF, foreign ownership in U.S. ag land grew by 12.2%. Canadian investors own the largest portion of foreign-held U.S. agricultural land at 15.35 million acres. Investors from Netherlands, Italy, United Kingdom, Germany, and that total combined 12 million acres of U.S. ag land. Texas, as a state, is reported to have the largest quantity of foreign-held U.S. agricultural land at 5.7 million acres, making up about 3.6% of the state's 158 million acres of privately held ag land. Maine has the second largest quantity of foreign-held U.S. agricultural land at 3.5 million acres, but leads for the highest proportion of foreign-held ag land, with over 21% of the state's 16.5 million acres of ag land being held by foreign investors. In both states, foreign ownership is primarily driven by forest products and timber companies. Back with more after this.
Watch your step, Ohio. Winter weather is here, so let's keep your team from slipping on the job. Make sure to examine your work areas daily and clear hazards that could result in a potential fall. Hoses, cords, buckets, farm tools, and equipment can all pose a problem. As the days get darker, you'll want to replace any poor lighting, too. Keep walkways and entrance areas clear, dress for the weather, and stay safe and warm. This safety tip brought to you by the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. Visit pwc.ohio.gov for more safety resources.
Morton Buildings is holding their annual Building Value Day sales event running now through the end of February. Morton Buildings are built stronger, last longer, and look better. So if you're planning for a garage, farm shop, stall barn, a storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, or anything in between, act now and contact one of their 4 Ohio offices by visiting mortonbuildings.com or call 800-447-7436 to take advantage of their current savings on select new buildings. Certain restrictions may apply. This offer is available on select building styles. Contact your local construction center for more details.
Soybean cyst nematode has been stealing yield since 1954, often without any obvious above-ground signs that it's grabbing a fresh free lunch. The new study shows it continues to increase its appetite for dining in new locations. Organized efforts to document SCN distribution have been tracking the spread since 2000. The latest survey effort to bring the map up to date adds 31 counties in U.S., 10 U.S. states reporting SCN for the first time during 20 to 23 time period. In Canada, 10 rural municipalities in Quebec and 3 counties across Manitoba and Ontario reported SCN for the first time over the last 3-year span. Now, researchers have established that SCN cost U.S. soybean farmers more yield than any other pathogen. Losses due to SCN are double those of the next largest pathogenic threat. Based on SCN's ongoing spread, it's reasonable to conclude that increased soybean yield losses due to the nematode will follow if they are not already occurring in the areas. Soybean varieties with genetic resistance to SCN have saved countless bushels over the years. However, decades of reliance on the most popular sources of resistance, PI 88788, have resulted in SCN populations resistant to the resistance. The good news is new sources of resistance, such as Peking, are being offered more frequently. Farmers now have many choices of varieties with Peking SCN resistance from many brands. That enhances their ability to rotate resistance varieties, a key element of active SCN management. Back with market numbers after this.
Here's farmer and businessman James Wood.
We farm about 3,500 acres. There's pipelines everywhere. The contractor working on my property did not have the lines located before he began work, and it resulted on a strike on a natural gas pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse.
Never assume the location or depth of underground lines. Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety campaign.
Soybeans grown in Ohio and across the heartland are meeting the feedstock demand for clean fuels. Biodiesel is a clean burning and reliable fuel that enhances engine life, power, and mileage. Plus, this high performance fuel works in any diesel engine without modification. With biodiesel, we fuel the economy, do good for the environment, and support soybean farmers. Learn how using biodiesel can add value to every bushel of soybeans grown at soyohio.org. Today's market analysis is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For more information on marketing soybeans to LDC, you can call them at 574-566-2113. Now with our update, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets had an up and down Tuesday. As we take a look at the numbers as we closed things out, soybeans traded slightly negative into the close, and we had bean oil mostly higher, bean meal down. Corn markets finished a couple pennies lower. Meanwhile, the wheat market put in a slightly higher close in Chicago, a flat close in KC, and a down 2 to 4 close in Minneapolis. As we take a look at the stories that impacted the market yesterday, kind of a mixed bag here overall. We didn't really have a significant amount of new headlines. Probably the biggest story out there was CONAB releasing their look at Brazilian crops. Remember, CONAB is the Brazilian equivalent of USDA, so you got to figure they're going to be getting this wrong quite a bit until they actually try and turn around and make it right. That follows what our USDA does. So CONAB production numbers out yesterday morning. This was the initial reason why the markets came out of the overnight trade being a little bit lower and then going up to 9 higher on soybeans and taking corn and wheat for the ride along. The CONAB putting out their number for the January estimate of the 24-25 crop year at 166.3 million metric tons. That's up about 0.1% from the December number. It's up big from last year, but it is not the 169 that USDA has in its balance sheet, and it was not the 171 that's been floated by at least one private estimate group out there. Corn put at 119.5. That's up 3.3% year on year, but actually down ever so slightly from the December forecast on corn. So again, that actually made the market a little bit excited. We could not hold that, though, as we got back to trading other things, and I think that the long tail of the USDA report from last Friday kind of wore off through the day on Tuesday. We'll see if we get turnaround Tuesday on Wednesday, though, when we get back to trade here later today. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Recapping yesterday's close, December corn was down 1/4 cent. November new crop beans down 1.5 pennies, and July new crop wheat up 1 cent. Looking at the overnight markets at the open, March corn up 1 1/4 at 4.75 3/4. The May is up 1/4 cent at 4.85. Then we turn lower. December new crop down 1 1/4 at 4.55 1/2 cents. The May soybeans are up 1 at 10.62 1/4 cent. November new crop soybeans 10.49 1/4 cent, down 1/4 cent. March wheat down 1/4 penny at 5.46. The July new crop is 5.68, down 1/2. September is down 3/4 at 5.81 1/2 cent. In livestock, February cattle 197.40 unchanged. April down 5 cents at 198.15. June 192.20 down 32. February lean hogs up 45 cents at 83.62. April $90.50 up $1.20. May is up $1 at 95.07. March feeder cattle 268.20 up 30 cents. April feeder cattle 268.55 up 22 cents. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Minyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.